Hey everybody, welcome to Transformers Masterpiece Theater. I'm the Rusty Mechanic, and I just got back from TFCon 2021 down in Toronto. Had an awesome weekend, got to meet a whole bunch of people. Even had one guy come up to me and recognize me, blame me for buying the Crimson Wings DS-01 because of my review video. Might have had something to do with this cool t-shirt that my wife bought me. Thank you, the Busty Mechanic. But I got to hang out with Madhouse Collectibles, ages 3 and up, Toy Dojo. They let me go ahead and do an exclusive live stream on the spot review, or reveal, I guess, of the TFCon 2020 exclusive. Turned out to be an X-Transbots Ono, which was a repaint of Hoist. Christmas theme, came with a bunch of Santa Claus masks. Go ahead and check out the live stream that I did a couple of days ago. Check out my channel. Got a lot of positive comments on it. Maybe you'll enjoy it. Maybe it's something you want. But that's not why you're here. We're here to talk about these two guys behind me. My first comparison video, MP-52 and DS-01 Crimson Wings versus Starscream 2.0. Let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was actually the boxes. Takara Tomy comes in the regular Takara Tomy box, right, with the figure artwork on the front and standard stuff on the side and all the stuff on the back. Nothing overly surprising about this one, just your standard Takara Tomy stuff. What was more surprising to me was actually the Deformation space, the Crimson Wings box. It's actually got, as you can see, the lights reflecting all over it. But it's got a really nice sort of a hard shell box, top cover, bottom. So this just slides open. So the box feels really good, like really durable. So that was actually a really nice surprise with this box. So I really like this box a lot better than the standard Takara Tomy stuff. Both of them come with bubble inserts inside. Nothing overly surprising there. All of the accessories and that are in the bubble as well, or in the plastic bubble packaging in their preformed spaces locked in. So nothing really special inside the box itself in regards to packaging. We won't talk about the fact that the wings are in the improper position on the picture on the box. For the unboxing, MP-52 comes in his alt mode, typical Takara fashion, which means you need to go through an entire transformation with him before you can have him proudly displayed in robot mode. He does come with a number of small clear plastic sheets that are wrapped around individual parts, most likely to protect the paint of the alt mode during shipping in the box. For DS-01, he comes in robot mode, and the only thing you need to do is just swing his wings down from the up position down into the normal lower position. It did come completely wrapped in, it was almost like a big sheet of tissue paper. Again, also probably to protect the paint of the robot mode while it was sitting inside the plastic bubble insert. Overall feel of the two figures from the initial lift out of the box, MP-52 does have a very light feel to it. Plastic does feel thin and weak. Again, with Takara figures, they seem to have gone for this lighter, thinner plastic. DS-01, completely different. Plastic feels a lot heavier, a lot thicker. The overall weight of the figure is a lot heavier as well. And probably has to do with the die-cast feet that's here on the bottom, along with some of the hardware that's probably inside of it as well. Both figures do very well at being cartoon accurate. In particular, both head sculpts are really, really nice. Both of them capture the venting on the side of the head, the overall shape of the head, the features and the sculpting around the face, even that center vent that's going on here at the top of both heads. Everything about both head sculpts looks really, really good and is very accurate to the cartoon. The only thing that I would say is MP-52's face, because it's so much darker than DS-01's, is you don't really get the pop from the eyes that you do from DS-01. So MP-52 does have a bit more cartoon accurate chest just because of the opaque glass here versus DS-01 here. It's yellow, but it's very clear. Obviously, you can see the seat from the cockpit as well as some of the other details in there, so it's a little distracting. But DS-01 does capture the dark vent lines that are here below the chest, whereas MP-52 does not. DS-01 unfortunately does have that split that's in the chest that's part of the transformation, as well as we asked for a waist swivel, so we got it, but The trade-off for that is that there's a slit here in the stomach as well. That's a little distracting from the overall presence of the figure. I find that MP-52 does seem to have more depth, though, right? Like there seems to be more, that 3D effect when you're looking at it, and what I mean by that is the chest sticks out more. It's not like DS-01 that's just sort of straight and flat here. There's some movement to the eye back and forth as you're looking up and down the figure. We take a look at it, both of them sideways, right from their side profile, assuming this guy's not going to do the smooth criminal on me here, which we'll get to later. But as you can see, right, there's just more movement back and forth in the overall lines, right? The knees come out further. The knees here are just straight against the thighs. The chest is very flat with the canopy. But what is nice is from this side profile is DS-01's backpack is very nicely tucked away. And while MP-52's backpack is clean, everything is tucked away and put where it's supposed to be, it does have a bit more of a backpack on it. For the rest of the cartoon accuracy, really, the two of them basically tie each other out. They all have the colors all in the right places. The red where it's supposed to be, the blue where it's supposed to be, the stripes on the wings. Like I said earlier, the only thing that sort of steps it out for me in regards to cartoon accuracy with DS-01 is the fact that it does have the stripes in the vents. Otherwise, they're pretty much bang on for cartoon accuracy. And the only other comment I'd make is that for some reason the shins here on DS-01 seem to stand out cleaner to me than MP-52's. It might have to do with the additional paneling lens that's going on here as part of MP-52's transformation. But there's just something about the blue shin pads here that seem cleaner, a nicer aesthetic or a nicer look than MP-52's. And I will also just comment as well that the feet on DS-01, they are die-cast, so that is another plus on DS-01. So we'll check out the details and the cartoon accuracy for the alt mode. So MP-52 does have the dark squares on the back of the fuselage, which we see in the cartoon depiction. Although DS-01, when you look at the null rays when they're transformed into the missile pods, they do look more cartoon accurate on DS-01. Other than that, the details in both alt modes are really, really good. I will have to say that I feel that DS-01 does have the nicer looking details. You can actually see a lot of the lines in that a bit better. Although MP-52 does have the one advantage of actually having the machine gun port on the right side that you would typically see in an F-15. It's missing on DS-01, but that's really, really tiny. MP-52 to me does feel a bit small for some reason. Like it's just a little bit smaller than a lot of the other jet bots. When you look at Fans Toys Iceman compared to DS-01, DS-01 is almost the same size, might even be a little bit bigger than FT Iceman, whereas MP-52 does seem a little bit smaller. There's some details in the cockpit on DS-01, which is nice. If you open up the canopy, both the canopies open in both alt modes for MP-52 and DS-01, but you actually get to look at some details on the cockpit for DS-01, so that's a nice touch by Deformation Space. There's paint on the vertical stabilizer in DS-01, which Takara completely missed. I don't even know why that happened or how, how did that happen? And the one thing that we all hate on all the jet bots is when we flip them over, you can see the chest, you can see the torso, you can see the hips. They're just right there. So the paint on both of them, they are both fully painted, although when you're looking at DS-01, it does have a flatter or matte red color. Kind of makes it look like it's just red plastic, but when you take a really close look, it is painted throughout all these areas. MP-52's red is a little bit glossier, so it does pop a little bit more, although I will say that the paint scheme on MP-52 overall does seem a lot darker than you sort of remember from the cartoon, so it kind of makes you take a, like a double look at MP-52 when you first pull it out of the box. The blues are almost an exact match, though, which is interesting, and they're both a sort of like an eggshell gloss. But overall, the paint schemes on both of them are really, really nice. Transformations on both of them, I went through both several times. Didn't get any chipping or scratching or anything from MP-52. Unfortunately, I did from DS because of the transformation and the difficulty in it. But I will tell you that given the difficulty of the transformation, that the paint on DS-01 does seem a lot more durable than MP-52. But there is some paint transfer and scratching and rubbing that does happen during the transformation. So, features on both MP-52 and DS-01 are pretty much the same and what you'd expect on a jetbot. The canopy can be opened on both of them, and they both have landing gear that you can pull out both the front and the rear. The only additional feature that you get is in MP-52, he has sort of a shout back to the Robotech era, but there's actually some chest missiles that are right here on both sides. You just flip up the chest panels, and he actually has these chest missiles inside, which is kind of hilarious. Some of the more interesting reports on MP-52 were the fact that he came with cracked plastic in the box, or people found during transformations that the section on the back of his heels, these panels here, that they would crack in around these pins. There were some other various reports too on cracked plastic, which is unfortunate. Of course, the biggest complaint was the weak ankles, which my figure at first did not have that issue, but as I started getting into some posing in that, the weak ankles started to show themselves. And there was also some reports of some weak knees as well, probably, after posing too many times or too many transformations. What's interesting is that when you get into posing MP-52, he seems very stable, but when he's just standing here, he is not. DS-01, on the other hand, there were no reported issues, no cracked plastic, no anything that I heard of, and he is a lot more stable. For the size scale comparisons, MP-52 does seem to be the correct size. Of course, it's coming from Takara Tomy, so that's kind of what we're expecting. Seems to be the right height when you look at some of the size scale charts, including Mike Lorber's. The right width, nothing too bulky. When you look at DS-01, it does seem to be a little bit too tall and a little bit too bulky, like a little bit too imposing. So I feel like DS-01 missed the mark on the scale there. For the alt modes, again, like I talked about a little bit earlier, MP-52's alt mode just doesn't seem to scale with some of the other jetbots that are currently out there. It just seems a touch too small. And to me, DS-01 just seems to fit in better. An F-15 is a big jet fighter, so it should be big. It's personal preference, of course. That's just the way I feel, and part of the reason why I will be keeping DS-01 just because of the alt mode. Let's talk about the transformation on MP-52. There is some challenges to it. It is a bit of a challenging transformation. It does have that double cockpit, which is kind of odd, although again, they're probably going for, real-world accuracy in the alt mode while trying to maintain the cartoon accuracy for the robot mode, so that's what they came up with. The plastic does feel light and weak, like a lot of the last few iterations of Takara figures. So while you're doing the transformation, it does feel a little bit scary at times, like you're applying too much pressure and it's going to snap at any minute. As for DS-01, we all know how I feel about that by now, I'm sure. Transformation is absolute trash. It is the worst transformation I have ever done. You do get scratches on the paint, you get paint transfer, you get rubbing. The tolerances or clearances are just awful. It's just a horrible experience overall. The good thing about the figure, though, like I said earlier, is that it does seem like it has a nice, thick, durable plastic, so even when you're struggling with the transformation, it doesn't feel like the figure is going to break at all. And with MP-52, he comes with the standard pamphlet booklet for the instructions. They're really, really well done, really, really clear, really, really easy to follow. As for DS-01, well, we all know what happened there, right? For the accessories, MP-52 comes with a dump load of accessories, almost too many accessories, to the point that some of them don't even make any sense. The drill bit that he comes with, that he used for like 2 seconds in one episode, the meteorite or the rock that he comes with, not really sure why I would ever use this. But it does come with some very cool accessories like the blast effects or the thrust effects. All are a cool translucent purple that have a really nice design. And the nicest accessory that it comes with is the Megatron gun, and the flight stand being a very close second. But unfortunately, some of these accessories don't work in all the modes. Like the Megatron gun doesn't work with his alt mode, because when you put it on the body of the alt mode, the landing gear doesn't work anymore. It doesn't touch the ground. Or if you want to put the Megatron gun under the body when he's in his alt mode, well, now you can't put him on the flight stand. So it's nice to have all these accessories and the options and everything, but you got to make sure that they work. So it's a little disappointing there. It does come with 5 alternate faces, but same thing, like options are nice, but I'm not sure I need 5 alternate faces, but they are in the box. And then one of the other nicer accessories he comes with is his null rays, which very cartoon accurate, look very, very good, and they do transform into the missile pods for his alt mode, but unfortunately when you transform them into the missile pods, they don't look like the cartoon, which is a little disappointing. As opposed to DS1, who's the complete opposite. He comes with just enough accessories, which include the null rays and 2 alternate faces. The null rays are very, very nice as well, also very cartoon accurate. In fact, when you're comparing MP-52's null rays to DS-01's null rays, they're almost identical. However, DS-01's transform as well, but they look exactly like the cartoon for the missile pods when you have them under the wings. And again, the 2 alt faces that he comes with, probably just the right amount. And then we get into the articulation, and it breaks down like this. So for the head, both of them have 360-degree rotation, along with a back tilt, a forward tilt, and a confused head tilt. At the shoulder, on the vertical axis, both rotate 360 degrees around on a soft ratchet. For the horizontal axis, MP-52 does 90 degrees. DS-01 does 90 degrees as well, but it does have a butterfly pivot inside the shoulder so the arms can reach in front of the chest. Both have 360-degree bicep rotation. Elbow rotation, or elbow bend. MP-52 does a little over 90, while DS-01 can go a full 180. Both have 360-degree rotation at the wrist, along with the wrist tilt. Finger articulation, individual articulation for both, with a primary and secondary knuckle articulation pins at those joints for the articulation. For the thumb, MP-52 has a fixed thumb, which I thought was kind of odd for the articulation, but it does have a pin at the primary and secondary for the articulation there, whereas DS-01 has a ball joint at the base as well as the pin at the primary and secondary, so it does have a little more articulation in the thumb. For the waist, as we all know, MP-52, no waist swivel, no ab crunch whatsoever, whereas DS-01 is the opposite. It does have the swivel and it does have the ab crunch. For the hip and thigh, both have a universal ball joint in there, so they get a little bit of thigh rotation. And DS-01 has an added pivot a little further down the thigh that will actually let you bend the leg back 90 degrees when you're doing the full Van Damme. Speaking of which, both have the full Van Damme, and the legs can swing 90 degrees forward. MP-52, it doesn't swing back because of the wing backpack. It does impede and get in the way. DS-01 does have a 45-degree back. For the knee, MP-52 has a single ratchet. It's a soft ratchet. It does go over 90 degrees. DS-01 has a double ratchet, also a soft ratchet as far as I can tell, but it does go past 90 degrees. And then for the ankle rotation, MP-52 does a 45-degree in and out along with a slight forward and back tilt. DS-01 does 90 degrees in and 45 degrees out, but it does not have a forward or back rocker to the ankle rotation. And then we get into the price, which is where the real difference is, because after everything is said and done, it does seems like Deformation Space did a really good job with theirs to compare to MP-52, very close. But MP-52 is about $350 Canadian. I got mine through Madhouse Collectibles. It comes out to $275 US. And DS-01, well, he's about $225 Canadian. Again, I got through Madhouse Collectibles. That comes out to about $175 US. So $100 US difference between the two, and you get a figure that's pretty comparable to the official. So which one would I pick? MP-52 is an excellent rendition from Takara Tomy of Starscream. He's very cartoon accurate and has some really good shelf presence to him. Does seem to have a lot of depth of field of vision when you're looking at it. There are those reported issues though, right? We have the cracked plastic, we have the weak ankles, so that's a little disappointing. But what's interesting, like I said, is when you put him in a pose and you stick him on the shelf, he stands up, he holds his pose, so it is still a solid figure. Maybe too many accessories, and some of the accessories that just don't work or don't work the way that we think that they should. The flight stand is one of the more disappointing out of all of them, and probably has to do with the price point. So the price point is a little high, which is unfortunate. Now DS-01, another third-party company making a stab into the market, making an awesome rendition of Starscream again. Absolutely nothing wrong with DS-1, a solid figure overall. Again, some nice weight, some nice heft, good feel to it. Just doesn't quite have the shelf presence, I think, that MP-52 has. And there is that split in the chest and the split at the waist for the waist swivel that kind of takes away from its shelf presence. The price point is really attractive, though, if you're looking for an MP Starscream, although I do feel like it's a little bit out of scale with the MP line. Just seems to be a little bit too tall and a little bit too bulky. So, which one am I picking? I'm actually picking both. I'm going to take MP-52 for its robot mode. I am trying to keep my collection as cartoon accurate as possible, so I do feel like MP-52 fits the mark there for me. But at the same time, I'm always looking for alt modes that match the real-world vehicles or objects as much as possible. And I feel like DS-1 hits that mark better than MP-52, so I'm taking DS-01 for the alt mode. That's it, everybody. Thanks a lot. This has been Transformers Masterpiece Theater, my first review video. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Did you like the review video, the style of it? Give me a like if you do like it, and don't forget to subscribe. Again, I'm still running my Push to 1,000 contest. Very close to 700 subscribers, so when we do hit 700 subscribers, I'll give away a couple of Quintesson t-shirts again that I got from Madhouse Collectibles. And when I get all the way up to 1,000 subscribers, I'll give away a Fans Toys Apache or Fans Toys Iceman, your choice. And until next time, thanks a lot, guys. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.